And welcome back to Janky AF. Well, sad to say, we can't all be Jay Leno.
It's just a fun car to go to lunch in or take to the beach or do whatever you want. Not that I spend a lot of time at the beach. Actually, I wouldn't take it to the beach because I'd be sitting on the beach going, somebody's touching my car. So I'd take my wife's Fiat 500 to the beach and leave us at home. So no, I don't go there. I drive past the beach. Yeah, I'll go past the beach, wave at people on the beach. That's about it. You can't even go to the beach now because of this coronavirus, but never mind.
In the latest issue of Haggerty's Drivers Club magazine, of which I am a subscriber, Mr. Leno's column uses an anecdote about blowing out two tires in a 1972 Mercedes 600 on the California 210 freeway to highlight and discuss the never-ending maintenance that automobiles need. And I quote, "I looked around the garage the other day and realized that I need about 1,200 tires. Even stuff in here like the 2005 Ford GT has tires that are, subquote, brand new, but obviously they're not," unquote. Aside from the staggering numbers that start to numb the mind once you start really contemplating the upkeep that a collection of his size must generate, he makes a really good point, that only an extremely wealthy man who wears nothing but denim and never goes to the beach can do in a relatable way to your average John like me.
Not that I spent a lot of time at the beach.
Quote, "All of us who collect cars have vehicles we can't or don't drive every day, so consequently their tires age out before they wear out," unquote. And while it's a fairly basic and obvious fact to anyone who owns classic cars, and yes, the Ford Aerostar is a classic car, thank you very much, it's often easy to forget when you've scraped together a few $1,000s and are feverishly scheming a way to buy a 28-year-old minivan with high mileage that's hundreds of miles away in a country that doesn't match the one on your passport, all because you think the color might be relatively rare among the 2 million or so that were made. And if you want to know exactly what I'm talking about, feel free to watch episode 96 of Year of the Aerostar. We have just the right amount of rust and discoloration going on. The point is, for freaks like me, even though I need hatchback struts for 3 vehicles and 2 state inspections, my Jetta's window won't roll up and has been covered in plastic for 6 months, and my Buick will only start while in neutral, not to mention its registration is expired, I'm too busy to deal with all of that because I have my head stuck up my ass trying to plot my next acquisition and the hundreds of dollars in logistical expenses it will take to buy a $1,000 shit box. And this doesn't even take into consideration the money lost from taking multiple days off work to go on a financial suicide mission. Because if you are self-employed like me, you're like a tractor with no PTO. I hope some of you out there got that joke. But every addict's path to self-destruction is paved by many enablers. And here's where we get into the title of this video, Trading Metal for Plastic. The Great Car Wizard recently published a video about how plastic is ruining modern cars, which can be seen as a perfect analogy for our modern financial system and the predatory lending that leaves hardworking but gullible saps like me into trading my solid stamped metal nickels and quarters and dimes into flimsy plastic credit cards that offer "the first one is free" drug dealer-like promotional offers wherein you spend $2,000 of money you don't have and then feel the great high of getting $200 in your account, which if you're not extremely careful will eventually get wiped out with 28% interest after the introductory 0% APR period runs out, and before you know it you have more debt than you started with, not to mention a degraded credit score on account of a hard inquiry and increased credit utilization percentage. Now this all probably sounds like either a bunch of technical gobbledygook nonsense or an all too familiar and painfully accurate description of your relationship with spending and debt. But based on the statistics that I've seen on credit card debt in this country, I'm guessing at least a few of you can relate. Incidentally, the Car Wizard also released a video on just how poor of an investment, if you can even call it that buying cheap older cars is. Much like the shiny allure of a credit card offer, a cheap older quote-unquote project car looks on the surface to be an easy and immediate way to realize your dreams, but more often than not becomes instead a hindrance, a heavy weight around your neck that keeps sinking you deeper and deeper into misery and debt. Now, all that being said, there's something beautiful and character building about being a card-carrying glutton for punishment. I love cars, I love old cars, and I love cheap cars, and I'll never stop buying them. I simply want to paint a realistic picture of what this little hobby of ours actually entails, especially when the accumulation keeps growing and the funds to support it don't. As I outlined in the introduction to this series,
I drive past the beach.
I am far from poor, and I seek absolutely no pity or any other such sentiments. There are many YouTubers out there with millions of subscribers tuning in for the endless entertainment that comes with watching someone make an objectively poor automotive purchase. And I'm watching right along too.
Yeah, I'll go past the beach, wave at people on the beach.
So in my own little janky way, I hope to do the same. In the next episode, I'll get into very minute and personal detail about my current financial situation as it relates to cars, and how I plan to right the ship. I may never taste the sweet satisfaction of sponsors and ad revenue that creates the alchemy of bad decisions as a means to lucrative returns, but I am grateful for every subscriber I get. So with that, if you're new to the channel, here's the time-honored, humiliating tradition of a street performer asking for your change. Sadly, you can't send quarters and pennies through the internet, but the good news is you don't even have to swipe a plastic credit card to make this transaction. So hit that arrow star button. Subscribe button. And jankety thanky.
You do whatever you want.
One small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
Actually, I wouldn't take it to the beach because I'd be sitting on the beach going, somebody's touching my car.